These two guns are both standard airsoft guns. The lower one here is a real sword type 56. They're both Chinese made. They're both made out of steel. I'll go through a few of the differences. This here is an AKSU. It's actually a kit which was assembled and sold complete from Gunner Airsoft in China, or Hong Kong I should probably say, and it's quite good, but it's assembled like a standard airsoft gun in that many of the components around the barrel are actually held on with small grub screws, like a lot of airsoft guns are. Now, if this was a real gun, a real AK, it would actually have pins through these two holes here. Now, it's made of steel. A lot of the components, well, it's all blued, in fact, this particular model. It's got wooden furniture. It's a little loose fitting, but you sort of don't really worry about that too much. Yeah, blued steel. Stock folds like so, catches, closes up like that. Brown plastic grip, standard magazines. This I had to actually do some work on. The welds failed on this magazine catch and it snapped off completely. The other thing was I also had to weld the front of this particular component here because it didn't latch very snugly against the lug on the side of the magazine. It was very loose and used to rock backwards and forwards. But once you've done a few little jobs on this, it's not too bad a gun at all. It fires about 330 feet per second out the box, maybe a little bit more, possibly up to 350. Now I'll show you a few of the differences with these two guns, as I said earlier. This being the AKSU, it actually hinges at this point here. Now, unlike the real sword, this is quite loose here. This should be quite solid, yeah, but you can see it's not very solid at all. It is made of steel. This part I would think is cast steel. So just put the catch back on. Yeah. Now, here's the real sword. For starters, come to the actual sights. These sights are not held on with small grub screws. They actually have pins to hold them on, as per the real gun. The barrel is all made of steel. The tip of the barrel here actually unscrews, and you can replace this with 3 different components which are supplied in the box. This one being the standard component. It's blued steel, and the barrel fits in very snugly. There's no wobble in that barrel at all. It's solid. You can't push it left and right with your finger. The other parts which come with it are a plastic piece like this in red plastic, Or another component is the same as this, but with a thread for screwing a silencer onto it. It's actually got a counterclockwise thread on this as well. Now, for the part here, for the gas, oh, what's it called now? I can't remember. Anyway, this component here, that's also pinned. No grub screw holding it on. It's solid, doesn't move, no flex in this. Nothing, no movement. The wood is quite nicely done, just as you'd expect a Chinese AK off the production line to be. In fact, I would say this is actually a steel AK that's been made on a real firearms production line. It's then been removed from the production line and it's had various components milled out. In fact, if you look, if I was to take this apart, you can actually see the bottom of the what would we call this, breech block, for want of a better name. The bottom of this is actually being machined out, milled out, to take the various airsoft mechanisms, the hop unit and so on. Little problem these things have is they're a little bit, they tend to snag a bit. The dummy bolt snags due to a piece, the back of the bolt, which travels down here, actually snags on the spring carrier underneath the cover here. But it's not a big problem, to be honest with you. How often in the field do you really want to cock that back? Once you've got the hop unit set, you shouldn't really need to worry about it from one game to the next. The sights, they are real steel sights, as you would expect them to be. A Chinese production Type 56 AK. The magazines are compatible with Tokyo Maori system. They are interchangeable. This, in fact, is the magazine which was on my other airsoft gun there, and the magazine which came in this gun actually fits my other airsoft AKs, so they are interchangeable. The grip on this is wood, hollow obviously. It's got the motor inside it and the usual screw through the bottom. The buttstock on this is steel. No more snapping like the Tokyo Maori systems or the plastic Kamayas. This is a steel mechanism. There's no alloy in there. It's solid. It's 100% steel. No problems with this. There's a slight wobble in the magazine mounting left to right. That's all. It functions perfectly well though. The gearbox is purpose-made gearbox. It's not an adapted one. Well, it's not one which has been bought off the shelf for an existing gun. It has been made purposely to fit into this gun. This gun, as I said previously, has come off a real firearms production line as far as I can see. The grade of steel used in this is firearms type. It's thick, stamped, pressed steel. It's got serial numbers on it. Yeah, part of this part component here, that steel is 3mm thick, if you can see that. This here, the breech block, is solid steel. It is a converted firearm, but it's been very well done. I wouldn't say that you could convert it back to a firearm, just get that point across to people, not without a considerable amount of work. The gearbox, as I said, is purpose made to fit this. It has 7mm bearings fitted inside here. Not silly plastic bushings as you might find in a TM. It will also have steel gear sets. Well worth the money. Nothing wrong with it. The cover on this is very much like a standard AK cover, an airsoft cover. The magazine will take the battery compartment takes long batteries. This is actually a GNP 2200 mAh, and you can see it fits all the way down inside the wood. Comes forward quite a long way. It's just a standard 8.4 volt, but it's a 2200 nickel metal hydride. It's got auto fuse connector here. I would say this is no worse than any other airsoft gun I've seen. Probably much better. Just slide the battery back in. So, magazine clips in. Take it off safe. Full auto. No problems. Scares the cat a little bit, but no problems. Semi-auto. Full auto. No problems at all with that gun. Just as good as a Tokyo Mari F7. Well, it's far better because it's made of steel, not plastic. As a friend of mine pointed out, 5 years ago here in the UK, we would have been paying about £270 for a plastic Tokyo Mari version of this. The stocks used to snap, and basically you couldn't treat them rough in any way. They had gearboxes with alloy gears sets inside them. This has got 7mm bearings in the gearbox, steel gears, it's got a steel folding stock, and the whole gun is put together like a real AK-47 should be. There is no problem with this gun at all. It's perfectly sound. And I can see this lasting for a number of years.
Oh, man. Don't hit me with them negative waves so early in the morning.